100 days into Donald Trump's second term, and the headlines are stacking up. Budget wars, MAGA tension, and a bold move to defund public media. As Trump heads to NBC's Meet the Press, let's break down what just happened and what it signals for America's future. President Trump's first 100 days of his second term are marked by a bold fiscal strategy, a proposed $163 billion cut to non-defense discretionary spending, reducing it to $557 billion, the lowest since 2017. Defense spending remains flat at $893 billion, despite a 13% increase in Homeland Security funding. Supporters argue this budget reflects Trump's commitment to reducing what he terms woke and wasteful federal spending, aiming to eliminate programs he views as ideologically driven. The administration contends that this approach will streamline government functions and prioritize national security. Critics, however, warn that these cuts could severely impact lower-income Americans, with significant reductions proposed for housing assistance, education, and healthcare programs. Democratic leaders have launched campaigns to oppose the budget, arguing it exacerbates economic inequality and undermines essential services. Even within Trump's party, there is dissent. Some Republican defense hawks express concern that flat defense spending in the face of global threats may compromise military readiness. Senators like Roger Wicker and Susan Collins have voiced reservations about the budget's assumptions and potential impacts on defense capabilities. As Trump prepares to discuss these developments on NBC's Meet the Press, the nation watches closely. The proposed budget not only reflects his administration's priorities, but also sets the stage for significant political battles ahead. President Trump has signed a landmark minerals agreement with Ukraine, granting U.S. firms access to critical resources like lithium, titanium, and graphite. This deal is framed as a strategic effort to reduce U.S. dependence on Chinese supply chains and to support Ukraine's economic recovery amid ongoing conflict. The agreement includes a joint reconstruction investment fund, with equal oversight from both nations, aiming to channel revenues into Ukraine's rebuilding efforts. Supporters within the Republican Party view this as a pragmatic approach, aligning economic interests with foreign policy objectives. They argue that the deal provides a tangible return on U.S. support to Ukraine and strengthens geopolitical alliances. However, some MAGA loyalists perceive this move as a departure from America First principles. They express concern over foreign entanglements and question the long-term benefits of such international agreements. Critics also highlight practical challenges, noting that Ukraine's infrastructure and ongoing conflict may hinder immediate exploitation of these resources. They caution that the deal's benefits may not materialize in the short term, raising questions about its efficacy. As President Trump prepares to discuss this on NBC's Meet the Press, the nation watches closely. The minerals deal stands at the intersection of strategic ambition and ideological contention, reflecting the complexities of modern geopolitics. In a significant reshuffling of the national security team, President Trump has removed Mike Waltz from his role as national security advisor. This decision follows controversies, including the unauthorized use of encrypted messaging apps for sensitive discussions and unapproved communications with foreign leaders. Despite these issues, Trump has nominated Waltz to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, a move some interpret as a strategic repositioning rather than a demotion. Stepping into the interim national security advisor role is Secretary of State Marco Rubio, marking a consolidation of power reminiscent of historical precedents. Meanwhile, Rep. Elise Stefanik, previously considered for the UN ambassador position, has had her nomination withdrawn by Trump, citing the need to maintain the Republican majority in the House. Stefanik is now reportedly considering a gubernatorial run in New York, signaling a shift in her political trajectory. These developments underscore the dynamic and often unpredictable nature of the current administration's approach to national security and diplomatic appointments. In a bold move, President Trump has signed an executive order directing the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, to cease all federal funding to NPR and PBS, citing concerns over alleged partisan bias in their reporting. This directive mandates the CPB to halt both direct and indirect funding to these public broadcasters by June 30th, 2025. The CPB, a nonprofit entity established by Congress, receives approximately $535 million annually to support over 1,500 public radio and TV stations nationwide. In response to the executive order, CPB President Patricia Harrison emphasized the organization's independence, stating that the CPB operates under congressional authority and is not subject to executive control. Leaders of PBS and NPR have condemned the executive order as blatantly unlawful. PBS CEO Paula Kerger and NPR President Catherine Maher have both indicated plans to challenge the order legally, arguing that it undermines the First Amendment and the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967. Critics of the move warn that eliminating federal funding could severely impact local stations, especially in rural areas where public broadcasting serves as a vital source of news and educational content. Legal experts also question the executive order's validity, suggesting it may exceed presidential authority and violate statutory protections for public media. Supporters of the executive order argue that taxpayer money should not fund media outlets perceived as biased. They contend that in today's diverse media landscape, public broadcasters should operate without federal subsidies. As the debate intensifies, the future of public broadcasting hangs in the balance, with potential legal battles looming and communities nationwide awaiting the outcome. This Sunday, President Trump steps into the spotlight on NBC's Meet the Press, marking his first major network interview since re-entering the Oval Office. The timing is strategic, coinciding with his administration's recent moves that have stirred both domestic and international waters. On the agenda, the controversial executive order to defund NPR and PBS, a decision that has ignited debates over press freedom and government overreach. Trump defends the move as a necessary step to eliminate biased media, while critics argue it threatens the very fabric of public broadcasting. Meanwhile, CBS's Face the Nation features NPR CEO Catherine Maher and PBS President Paula Kerger, who are expected to challenge the legality of the funding cuts and discuss their implications for public media's future. Other Sunday show lineups include discussions on the U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal, with Ukrainian Ambassador Oksana Markarova providing insights on ABC's This Week. Additionally, Fox News Sunday hosts a panel featuring Reps. Jody Arrington, Jason Smith, and Jim Himes, alongside DNC Chair Ken Martin, to dissect the political ramifications of the administration's recent actions. As the nation tunes in, these Sunday programs promise a deep dive into the policies and controversies defining Trump's early days in office. Whether you're seeking clarity or confrontation, this media blitz offers a front row seat to the unfolding political drama. 100 days down, and Trump is already fighting on 5 fronts: budgets, foreign policy, staff shakeups, media wars, and MAGA backlash. What happens next depends on whether Trump doubles down or pivots. Hit subscribe, and we'll keep you one step ahead of the spin. This is Informed, Not Influenced. Armed, not